Two cars are driving through the city. They both started their journey at the same time. The green car is moving at a speed of 30 miles per hour. The yellow car is faster. Its speed is 50 miles per hour. And still, at one point, the green car comes across the yellow car. How is it possible? The cars are traveling in opposite directions. Aaron is a detective who has to work undercover at a luxurious resort. The police suspect that the hotel owners are involved in some shady deals. Aaron's task is to sneak into the manager's office and check his documents, but the door is locked, and there's a combination lock. Aaron has to figure out the password. The detective knows he needs to solve a math riddle, and the answer will be the code. As soon as he punches in the code, the door opens. What is the correct number? It's 30. There are no mathematical symbols at the end of the first and second lines. It means the whole thing looks like this. A very famous painting disappeared from a museum. Later, the police managed to find it, but there was a problem. They found not one, but 3 paintings. Only one of them is original. The others are just copies. Can you help the police figure out which is the original painting? It's the one with the brown frame. Take a look. All frames in the museum are made in the same style. Now, you've got accepted to the best school of witchcraft and wizardry. One of the best classes you have to attend is about transforming into animals. There are 3 professors who teach this class. Each of them specializes in transforming into a certain animal. Look at your professors and try to figure out what kind of animal each of them turns into. Have you noticed that the first professor has a forked tongue? He must transform into a snake. The second professor has a lion's tail. It must be the animal she transforms into. And the third professor has bear claws. He must turn into a grizzly bear. Maria was a princess and the heir to the throne. One day, an evil witch lured the girl into a magic forest. Maria got lost. Luckily, she had an enchanted pendant given to her by one of the king's magicians.
"It will help you find your way back home if you ever get lost," he said.
Maria tapped the pendant, and 3 spirits appeared in front of her. The first spirit was an owl, the second was a butterfly, and the third spirit was a hawk. Unfortunately, only one of them knew the way back to the castle, and if Maria chose to follow the wrong spirit, she would find herself even further away from home. Can you help the princess pick the correct spirit animal? Have you noticed the banners in the throne room? There was a butterfly on each of them. It means the butterfly is the official symbol of the kingdom. Maria should follow the butterfly spirit. A man lives in a high-rise apartment building. He has an unusual habit related to the evening elevator ride after he returns home from work. If it's been raining, he always takes the elevator straight to his 17th floor. If it's sunny, but there's someone else in the elevator with him, he always gets straight to the 17th floor. But if it hasn't been raining and he's alone in the elevator, he takes the elevator to the 11th floor and walks up the stairs the rest of the way. Can you figure out why? The man is very short. He can only reach the button for the 11th floor. If someone else is in the elevator, he asks them to press the button for his floor. And when it's rainy, he uses his umbrella to press the button. Johnny, a party clown, is carrying 3 pieces of gold. Each of these pieces weighs 2 pounds. While walking, the guy comes to a bridge. It has a sign saying the bridge can only hold a maximum of 180 pounds. Johnny weighs 176 pounds. Johnny reads the sign and still safely crosses the bridge with all the gold. How is it possible? Johnny is a clown, so he knows how to juggle. While walking across the bridge, he juggled the gold, keeping one piece in the air.
You hear someone scream for help outside. You run out of the apartment and forget to lock the door. A woman is crying in the street. She's standing near the road. In the distance, you can see a car leaving at high speed. The woman says her new car has just been stolen. You get into your vehicle and start chasing the criminal. The suspect gets out of the car and runs toward an abandoned house. He climbs over the fence and disappears inside. You go there after him. In a small hall, 5 zombies are walking in different directions. But zombies don't drive cars. One of them is the thief pretending to be a zombie. Who is it exactly? Zombies don't sweat, but one of the creatures you see is covered with sweat. That's because it's the criminal who has been running away from you. You walk through the streets. There's a warning on a post about lizard people charging at the inhabitants of the city. You remember investigating this case, but you couldn't find these reptiles. Now you need to go to the park. For several days, a large werewolf has been scaring the residents there. You know that the werewolf has a wife, and she is the only person who can calm the monster down and help him return to his human form. You have found 3 girls. Each of them might be the werewolf's wife you're looking for. You ask his wife to approach him, but none of the girls admits she's the one you need. So you have to make your own choice. Do you see some wool on this girl's clothes? It's the wolf's fur, which means she's the wife. She walks up to the monster, hugs it, and the werewolf turns into a human. You're hungry. You drop by a pizzeria. The owner of the restaurant says that someone has taken all his weekly earnings from the safe. The thief wore gloves and left no fingerprints. The video cameras were turned off. You know this pizzeria has had several similar incidents over the past year. Every time, the insurance company paid the owner the entire amount that had been stolen. You're sure the owner took his own money to use the insurance again. Take a look at the office and prove that the owner is guilty. Look at the air vent. Behind the grated hatch, you can see the bundles of the stolen money you've been looking for. There's a long night ahead, and you're feeling sleepy. You go to a small cafe to get coffee. You give the money to the saleswoman and take the cup with the drink. You take a sip and realize the woman is in danger right now. How do you know that? "Help me" is written on the cup she's just given you. You decide not to leave the cafe and sit down at the table. You can see a man in a black raincoat and hood sitting at the other end of the room. The girl behind the cash register is looking at him wearily. You look at this visitor for a few seconds and realize he's a vampire. What makes you think that? It's night outside. You can see your reflection in the window. The hooded man is sitting by the window too, but isn't reflected in it. He's a vampire. The coffee has cheered you up a little. You're walking along the street, lost in thought. That's why you don't notice an open maintenance hole in front of you. You fall and find yourself in a dark sewer. Phew! Fortunately, you're not hurt. Shh! You can hear some noise at a distance. You turn on your flashlight and slowly walk forward. Soon, you come across a cage with several people inside. They say a mad scientist caught them and put them in this cage to conduct experiments. You need to free the prisoners. But where can you find the key? Carefully inspect the laboratory. One of the jars with chemicals standing on the shelf has a key inside. You take it out and are about to open the cage But the scientist returns. He tells you not to do this. The people inside are actually mutant lizards. The scientist admits that he accidentally turned regular crocodiles into humans. The scientist managed to catch these monsters and put them in this cage. He's going to turn them back into reptiles and let them go. The prisoners say they are humans, and the scientist lies. Who do you believe? You decide not to open the cage. Inside, next to the people, you can see pieces of faded skin and scales. Snakes and other reptiles shed during molting. You believe the scientist, and he promises that he will soon fix everything. You're back in the street. It's as dirty and uncomfortable here as in the sewer. Nearby, a bolt of lightning strikes something. You hear someone screaming and run there. A multi-story building is on fire. An old lady is crying. She's left her cat in the apartment. Firefighters may not be able to save it, so you decide to do it yourself. You go up to the top floor using an old fire escape. It collapses behind you. Fortunately, you manage to jump into the window. You're in the old lady's apartment. Several floors lead to different rooms. You don't have time to check each of them. The fire is getting closer. Where is the cat? That door is scratched at the bottom. Those are claw marks. The cat must be there. You open the door and see a big black cougar. The fire is everywhere, and you can't go out through the main entrance. There is a window leading to the backyard and a fire escape. Where will you go? The fire escape collapsed when you were trying to get into the apartment. In the window, you see the tree. You're getting hungry and want to boil a 2-minute egg. If you only have a 3-minute hourglass timer, a 4-minute hourglass timer, and a 5-minute hourglass timer, how can you boil the egg for only 2 minutes? When you see the water boiling, turn the 3-minute timer and 5-minute timer over. When the 3-minute timer runs out, you need to put the egg in the boiling water. You'll have 2 minutes on the 5-minute hourglass timer, and when it finishes, take the egg out of the water and enjoy your meal. Mr. Wright had a small store in Chicago called 5 Flags, but there were 6 flags hanging outside. He could easily correct that mistake, but he didn't. Can you figure out the reason? At first, it was just a mistake, but later Mr. Wright noticed that people would often come to his store to tell about that problem, which increased his sales. A wise king realized he was tired of all the hard work he had to do, so he decided to find someone who could replace him. He decided to make a challenge, and the one who nails it will become the new king. Anyone who wanted to take the throne needed to put a whole cucumber into a glass bottle without cutting the cucumber or damaging the bottle. The participants had a week to do it. This challenge seemed to be impossible, so only 5 people decided to take part, and there was only one winner. How did he put the cucumber in the bottle? He placed a baby cucumber still on its stem into the bottle. Cucumbers grow rather fast, so he had enough time to win that competition. If it's raining at midnight, can you expect that in 72 hours it'll be sunny? Nope, in 72 hours it's going to be night again. You see a bathtub filled with water. You have a spoon, a cup, and a bucket. Which will you choose to empty the bathtub? Obviously, choose to pull out the plug. Allison majored in math at university. Her roommates wanted to test her intelligence. They took 3 envelopes and wrote short messages on them. Then they put the answers to Allison's exam questions in one of the envelopes. Only one envelope had a truthful message written on it. The other 2 were false. Allison wasn't allowed to open the envelopes and could only pick one. The first message read, "There are no exam answers here." The second was, "The exam answers are here." and the third message read, "The exam answers aren't in the second envelope." Which envelope should Allison pick? The third one. It tells the truth, which means the exam answers are in the first envelope. Joanna and Josh were on their honeymoon in France. On the first day, they went on a city tour around Paris and left all their stuff in the hotel room. When they came back, someone was standing outside their door trying to get in. The couple called the receptionist right away, but the man claimed Joanna and Josh owed him some money for the tours they had taken in the past 4 days. The receptionist knew the man was lying right away. How did he figure it out? It was the couple's first day in the hotel. Russell and Anna were on vacation. One day, Anna told Russell she couldn't go to the beach with him because she was feeling unwell. When Russell came back to the room to grab his phone, Anna was gone. He found her by the pool and asked, "Are you here alone?" She nodded, but Russell immediately realized she was lying. How? There were 2 soda pops on her table and 2 fruit platters. Apparently, this was also going to be Russell and Anna's last vacation together. Gregory was on a mission to take some nature photos for his blog. As he was walking through the forest, he fell into a deep pit. He tried to climb out of it, but in vain. When he held onto one rock, it gave away, and water started to pour inside. The pit was filling fast. Gregory saw a deflated ball, an empty barrel, and a piece of wooden board. What should he use to get out of the pit? Well, the deflated ball is too small and has a slit in its side. The wooden board won't support his weight. The best option is the empty barrel. It'll keep Gregory afloat. An old king had no heirs to the throne, but he needed one. So he asked the smartest young people in the kingdom to gather at the palace. He gave them each an egg. Then he said that whoever took the best care of their egg and could grow a beautiful bird would be the next king or queen. Half a year later, the young people came back with gorgeous birds of different kinds. Only one girl, Scarlet, came back empty-handed. She said she couldn't do it. Surprisingly, the king announced her to be the next queen. Can you explain why? The king gave everybody a simple rock instead of a real egg, which means that no one could possibly grow a bird. Everyone else cheated except for Scarlet, and the king realized she was the only one who would make a good and fair queen. Ariana wanted to have some pocket money, so she started to work at a bookstore. At the end of her first day, she noticed that one book of the collection was missing. There was no record of someone buying it, so it must have been stolen. Ariana was an honest girl. She went to the manager and admitted she hadn't noticed the theft. But the manager just laughed and said that nothing was missing. Take another look at the bookshelf and try to figure out why. The collection only has 8 books. The 9th book is actually book number 6, but it's standing upside down and in the wrong place. Mrs. Miller has 4 daughters, Abby, Beth, Charlie, and Danny. They're identical quadruplets. Once, the woman asked the girl's teacher to let Abby go after the first class. She had an important appointment. The teacher couldn't tell the teenagers apart, and the girls wanted to have some fun. So they gave her a hint. Charlie is somewhere in the middle. Danny is on the left side of Beth and on the right of Abby. Abby is right next to Danny. Can you help the teacher identify all the girls and find out which one is Abby? So we know Charlie is somewhere in the middle, and since Danny has someone on both sides, she's somewhere in the middle too. If Charlie is the second, Danny must be the third, and since Danny is on the left side of Beth, Beth must be the fourth. and Abby the first. But it can't be true because Abby and Danny are supposed to be next to each other. But if we switch Charlie and Danny, Danny will be right next to Abby, but still on the left side of Beth. It means that the right order is Abby, Danny, Charlie, and Beth. Abby is the first girl. Mrs. Jones' friend called her to say she had just seen one of her sons at a party, but she wasn't sure which one it was. Mrs. Jones never allowed her sons to go to parties. She asked them if any of them had been there, but the guys denied breaking the rules. Mark said he had been studying. John said he had been practicing for his piano class. And Ethan said he had been playing computer games. Can you figure out who's lying? Ethan. Look, he has a lipstick stain on his collar. A company was hiring a new manager. They wanted full commitment, so they didn't want this person to have a family. Ben and Rob came to the interview. Both of them said they weren't fathers and didn't plan to become ones. Rob had a flawless resume, but the company still hired Ben, even though he wasn't as good as Rob. Why? Before the interview, Ben had to take his teenage daughter to her ballet class. After that, he accidentally brought her pink ballet backpack with him. The HR specialist noticed it and realized Ben had a daughter. In June, all students had their final math exam. The professor looked at them and understood that one of them was going to cheat. Who was it, and how did the man figure it out? It must be this girl. It's June, and everyone is wearing t-shirts and shorts. But she's put on a sweater and high boots. She must be hiding something. George and Carter are cooking dinner for tonight. Can you see who is doing something wrong? It's Carter. Look, he's using rat poison as a salad dressing instead of oil by accident. I think I'll skip the salad tonight. Liam and Owen were camping in a forest. Suddenly, they saw a bear near their tent. Liam decided to run away, and Owen froze and stood still. Who is in danger? Liam. The bear is likely to start chasing him, and the animal will definitely be faster. If you ever find yourself in such a situation, it's better to keep your cool. Slowly move backward, keeping eye contact. Michelle and Emma were enjoying their time outside when a storm started. Michelle hid in her car that was in the middle of the beach, and Emma just kept swimming away from the shore. Who is not smart? Emma. She should get out of the water immediately and join Michelle in the car. It's dangerous to touch water during a thunderstorm. Samantha and her daughter Avery went to the lake to spend some time together.
Yay!
They found a nice spot and sat down there. A bit later, Samantha remembered she'd left her camera in the car and went to get it. When she returned, her daughter was gone. The woman called the police, and they started to look for the girl. There were 3 people nearby, and the police officers interrogated them all. Benjamin said, "I was walking nearby and saw a girl sitting by the lake, but I didn't do anything to her." Genevieve said she hadn't even seen the girl or her mother. And Victoria said she hadn't seen them either, but she heard someone screaming. Who should the officers arrest? They should arrest Genevieve. Look, she's wearing Avery's scarf. Brian called the police early in the morning. He said that the night before, he and his girlfriend Estelle had been watching a scary movie together. Estelle was afraid to go home, so she stayed at his place. She was having a bad dream with zombies chasing after her, and she didn't wake up in the morning. The guy didn't know what had happened, but the police arrested him, claiming he was guilty. Why? The guy said his girlfriend hadn't woke up in the morning. Then, how did he know what she had been dreaming about? Theodore came from New York to his hometown, Chicago, to spend a week with his father. 3 days later, the father called the police and said his son had poisoned himself. The police examined Theodore's things to check if there was anything suspicious. After that, they took the father to the police station for further interrogation. What seemed suspicious to them? The officers found a return ticket from Chicago to New York. Theodore wouldn't have bought this ticket if he hadn't been planning to return to New York. Esme was having her usual walk in the forest. And you know what? She got lost again. After wandering around for a couple of hours, she finally found the witch's house. Esme asked the witch to show her the way back home. The witch wanted to make Esme her maid, but she had a problem. She was planning a vacation and wanted to go fishing. Her fishing rod was 13 feet long, and one was only allowed to take things no longer than 12 feet on the train. The witch promised Esme that if the girl found a solution, she'd let her go. What can Esme recommend? Esme was very good at geometry. She advised the witch to put the rod in a 12 by 5 foot box. Diagonally, it fit perfectly. On a Sunday evening, Mrs. Collins was having tea at her friend's house. Her friend suddenly said that she had seen one of Mrs. Collins' daughters in the mall that day. Mrs. Collins got angry because all of the girls were grounded. She asked which daughter it was, but her friend couldn't tell. She wasn't wearing her glasses when she was at the mall. When Mrs. Collins returned home, she asked the girls what they had been doing the whole day. Abigail said she'd spent the day reading. Brianna said she had stayed at school after classes to study a bit more. Charlotte said that she had been practicing for her upcoming piano concert. Who lied? Brianna. It's Sunday. There's no school. A young girl, Tenley, was brought to the hospital after being poisoned. But the examination showed that Tenley hadn't eaten or drunk anything that day. Her sister, Kennedy, said she didn't know anything about the accident. Tenley's friend, Ruby, said, "We were at school when Tenley felt bad." Tenley's boyfriend, Archie, said, "I haven't even talked to her today." How was Tenley poisoned, and who did it? The girl hasn't eaten anything, but she has some lipstick on. That's what contains poison. And the only person who had access to Tenley's room that day was her sister, Kennedy. There was a car accident in a tunnel. The police suspected that one of the drivers, Owen, had fallen asleep behind the wheel. But Owen denied it. "I just couldn't see well because of the rainstorm," he said. The police didn't believe him and immediately arrested the man. Why? The accident happened in a tunnel. It couldn't rain there. Someone in the town was stealing cars. Every time a car disappeared, its owner would get a message from an anonymous number. In each message, there were 2 emojis that didn't make any sense. The police tracked the number, and the geolocation led to 3 houses. They questioned the owners, Mr. Walson, Mrs. Coleman, and Mr. Woolridge. Can you tell who the car thief is? The emojis seem to make sense after all. They're a wall and a father with a son. Combine them and you'll get Walson. So Mr. Walson must be the one stealing cars. Now, let's play the game Who's Less Smart? It's early morning. Tom and Joseph are driving their teenage children to school. Who is not smart? Joseph. His son is not in the car. His father has probably forgotten about the poor guy.
The airport security had an emergency alert. There's a man with fake documents trying to fly away from New York. They had 3 suspects who look almost the same. Which passport is fake? No matter what country a person is from, no passport can have a photo with mountains in the background. All backgrounds should be solid. John's passport has a suspicious photo in it. His documents are fake. Mason is a lifeguard. One day, a girl came up to him asking for help. She said someone had stolen her wallet, which she noticed when she was going to go and grab a soda pop. Mason checked the towel where the girl left her stuff, but the only thing he noticed were her own footprints. Is this girl lying to Mason? The girl was telling the truth. Mason had an eagle eye, and he saw a guy with a fishing rod. He must have stolen the girl's wallet. No one wants to go fish in the public beach. Robbers stole a few precious gems the other day. The police were alerted immediately, but they didn't know where to look for the thieves. Suddenly, they got an anonymous email. Check all the bottles in the cars leaving the town. Best regards, Mr. X. At the end of the day, the officers stopped a car loaded with boxes and bottled water. The bottle bottoms were all covered with paint, so they thought the gems should be in one of them. The level of water was the same in all the bottles, but when one of the officers placed one of them right next to the box, he instantly realized something was off. What was it? The bottle standing next to the box is much lower than those still inside. The police then found there was a double bottom and the gems were hidden right underneath it. 2 friends, Martin and Clyde, had a bet. Martin said he would throw a ball and it would come back to him. He also said there would be no obstacle or wall the ball could ricochet from. Clyde said it was impossible, and he lost. How's that? Martin threw the ball straight up. It obviously came back to him. No magic, just physics. Emily grabbed a really nice muffin at the cafeteria and put it on the office desk. She wanted to save it for later, but when she came back from the meeting, she saw someone had eaten her muffin. There were only 3 people who could do that, and only one person is telling the truth. Grace said it was Alicia. Alicia said she didn't eat anything. Tina says she didn't eat anything either. Who ate the muffin? It was Tina. Only one person is telling the truth, and it's Alicia. If Grace or Tina told the truth, then there would be 2 truthful people, but Emily knew only one person wasn't lying. Patrick really wanted to come to a private party, but the security would ask each person if they knew the secret access code. Patrick decided to overhear their conversations. When the person came up to the entrance, the security said 6, and the guest said 3. Then the security said 10 to the second visitor, and the reply was 3 as well. The third visitor also said 3, but the security said 2. Patrick thought he was ready to join the best party in town. When he came up to the entrance, the guard said 7, and Patrick replied 3. The security didn't let him in. What should Patrick have said to get into that fancy party? He should have said 5. The guest needed to count letters. 6, 10, and 2 have 3 letters. That's why the answer was 3. In the word 7, there are 5 letters. Ben loved diamonds. For some time, he would spend $5,000 a day on precious stones. At some point, he realized he had too many gems, so he started selling them at $3,000 a piece. Sometime later, he became a millionaire. How is that possible if he was obviously losing money? Before his gem rush, Ben used to be a billionaire. Since he started losing money, he became only a millionaire. A vampire moved to a big city where nobody knew him to start a brand new life. Still, he just couldn't help it and started biting locals every single night. People got scared and invited a private investigator to solve the problem. A couple of days later, Detective Reitman had 3 suspects. He decided to visit each of them to find out who the vampire was. After visiting all the houses, he was sure he found the vampire. Who was it? Well, the man on the left has loads of garlic in the kitchen, and vampires are scared of it. The second suspect had a lot of silver-plated accessories, earrings, piercings, and a chain. Vampires don't really like silver. The guy in the blue shirt is a vampire. Long ago, in the Kingdom of Riddles, a criminal was caught. The guards took him to the king, who was famous for loving riddles. King Archibald said that if Harry, the criminal, managed to solve his riddle, he would set him free. Harry agreed, and Archibald drew a 2-foot line on the ground with his foot. The king asked Harry to make this line 2 times shorter without touching it. In the end, Harry was free. What did he do? Harry drew a 4-foot line with his foot, so that the one the king drew got 2 times shorter.
You're tired. Oh, you'll just lie down on the edge of the bed, and a 10-minute nap will really help get your head on straight. As soon as you close your eyes, though, you hear a rustling in the sheets right next to you. Then you feel a cold hand on your neck. You keep your eyes sealed shut. You're way too afraid to open them, but you pinch yourself to make sure you're not dreaming. The fingers on your neck start squeezing ever so slightly. Oh, that's it. You bolt out of bed. As fast as you can, you whip out your phone and try to record the whatever it was. But there's nothing. Only an empty bed. Were you sleeping, or was it real? You noticed something. Phew. Oh, it's just a bad dream after all. What did you notice? I'll give you 6 seconds. The sun was shining when you lay down. Now, it's the full moon that's shining. You were out cold for a while. You leave the bedroom and walk down a long hallway lit by torches and candles. The silence is broken only by the churning of your stomach. Guess you're hungry. Well, there's a heavy wooden door in front of you, and it's open just a crack. The pleasant smell of food starts wafting its way into the hallway. You go in and find a huge table, decked out with real silverware and porcelain. Oh, the food looks delicious. There's caviar, lobster, fruits, vegetables, different meats, plenty of desserts. Several people are sitting around the table, and as you approach them, they turn around to look at you. They're all vampires! How did you know? I'll give you 5 seconds to figure it out. The food on the table is untouched. The vampires have been waiting for their most important dish. You run. You make it back out into the hallway, then dart down a dark corridor. The vampires are chasing you. They're screaming. You find 3 doors at the end of the corridor. The first one has a fire symbol on it. The second has a snake symbol. And the third just says, exit. You try to open it, but it's locked. The vampires are closing in. What are you gonna do? You have 4 seconds before you become vampire food. Try the key you found in the vampire's hut. Great! It fits! You run out into the courtyard and lock the door behind you. The moon is hidden behind some thick white clouds. You sneak through the courtyard and open the back gate of the castle. Next to the gate is a sign with an image of a werewolf on it. You walk off as quietly as possible. After about 5 minutes, you see a long bridge. There's a beautiful woman standing at the other end. She waves to you and motions for you to come closer. But something's bothering you. Could she be a werewolf? So, you can either cross the bridge or head back to the castle. What can you do to find out if she really is a werewolf? You have 10 seconds for this one. Good luck. Wait until the moon appears from behind the clouds. Your intuition was right. As soon as the moonlight falls on the woman, she begins to turn into a werewolf. Still kind of cute though. You run back into the castle grounds and close the gate behind you. Okay, reality check. You're in the courtyard. Vampires are inside the castle, a werewolf is waiting outside, and zombies are approaching. You're trapped. Why did you even come to such a scary castle? You pull out your phone and start recording a farewell video. You thank your followers for their views and comments. Thanks for subscribing. You admit that mystical creatures do exist and promise that you'll never set foot in a place like this ever again if you survive. The zombies are closing in and the werewolf is breaking down the gate. Oh, awesome. Your fear is gone and you realize that this whole thing is staged. It's all a show. How'd you figure it out? Watch the farewell video again and find the proof that everything is fake. I'll give you 10 seconds to spot the clues. Do you see that big guy with a camera behind you in the tower window? The zombies stop growling. They scream, "Surprise!" They're not zombies. They're just wearing a whole ton of makeup. The gate opens and the woman takes off her werewolf costume and smiles. The vampires come out of the castle, carrying their fake fangs. This whole thing was set up by your fans. They wanted to scare you, and it worked. You're angry at them, but so happy that you're still alive. Okay, let's see how many you got right. 1 to 3 points. It'll be difficult for you to act in stressful situations. Watch more riddles and train yourself to be calm and focused. 4 to 6 points. Something really bad has to happen for you to lose control. Phantoms don't seem to scare you at all that much. 7 to 10 points. You don't even know what fear is, but you do know how to come out victorious in any situation. You have one question for your fans. How did they create that floating effect for those dancers? That was awesome. Your fans look at each other. What? What are you talking about? What do you mean? There were no dancers. A slight chill runs down your back.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.